Hello and welcome back to another video. This weekend is the Shokei-no-Michi festival, and so I'm here in Takehara to see it. The name Takehara means field of bamboo, and perhaps because of this, many of the city's events and festivals are connected with bamboo, and this one is no exception. The traditional streets in the centre of the city are decorated with bamboo, illuminated with candles. As night falls, it's quite an enchanting sight, and the festival is pretty popular. I've decided to come quite early this year, primarily so that hopefully I can avoid some of the crowds, and so it's still not quite dark yet. Anyway, here's a bamboo Eiffel Tower, presumably a nod to the Olympics earlier this year, and then we move on towards the steps up to Shorenji Temple. When the festival gets busy, these steps are always thronged with people trying to get photographs, so I'm glad I came early. The forecast is actually for rain later on tonight. I hope that's after the festival has finished. It would be a real shame if all of these candles were extinguished. Having said that though, I think a fair number of them are actually battery powered. Anyway, let's take a look back towards the Eiffel Tower and then head on up the steps. I think these steps could quite easily be my favourite view of the festival. By the way, this is the 20th time the festival has been held, and to be honest, I think I've been most times. It's something I look forward to every autumn. Anyway, this is Shorenji Temple. It's one of the two temples along the historical preserved street in the centre of Takehara. Hopefully I'll be able to walk up to the other one later. Alright, I'm going to head from Shorenji Temple into the main part of the festival now, the main street. And this is the beginning of the main street. When I talk about the main street, I'm talking about a street of preserved buildings in the middle of Takehara. And in a street of preserved buildings, there are quite a few preserved houses, and during the festival these are open, like this one. The flower arrangements in this house are really quite spectacular, I have to say. The whole of the street is full of bamboo decorations. I suppose the dragonflies on these decorations are a symbol of autumn. All the way along the street are these pieces of cut bamboo illuminated by candles. And then there's this, which is a whole heart of bamboo and candles. These sphere things, I suppose you can call them, are a bit different. I don't remember having seen them here in previous years. I'm not sure I recall ever having seen this display either. Many of the decorations are necessarily quite traditional, but this one is pretty modern really. It's almost fantastical. Fantastical, but also very beautiful. Actually, I'm not that sure that fantastical and beautiful need to be exclusive. Okay, so this is the bamboo tunnel, which, as its name suggests, is a sort of tunnel made out of, you guessed it, bamboo. It's very beautiful though again. It's also longer than I remembered. I'd say possibly about 50 meters long, which I suppose is not that long in the scheme of things, but when you're bending each individual piece of bamboo like this, it's a fairly impressive effort. Some more bamboo sticks with decorations, and, of course, some more candles. Anyway, let's take a walk further along the street. I always enjoy seeing this building when I come to Takehara. The decoration, the diamond pattern, is called namako kabe. In English, namako is sea cucumber, apparently. So this traditional way of decorating walls, especially of storehouses and warehouses, I think, is sea cucumber walling. Okay, moving on. This is another display of decorated bamboo poles. Very beautiful when arranged together like this, I think. Back onto the main street. This, although I do say so myself, is a pretty good view of the traditional buildings along the street. I don't know if you've noticed, but the lanterns we've seen have all basically had different designs on them. These designs, I think, are the family crests of the family, obviously, that own the house in question. Right, let's take a look in this house. The building shown on these fairly impressive screens is the second of the temples along the main street. And I'm going to take a walk up to that temple right now. The temple in question is called Saihoji, and in its grounds there is a pavilion, I think you can call it, called Fumeikaku. The view from the pavilion is rather impressive, although obviously at night there's not a great deal to see. This flight of stone steps up to the temple is, I have to say, longer than I thought. Longer than I remembered, maybe. Still, it's not particularly steep, so it's okay. And this is Saihoji Temple itself. Quite a nice temple, actually. And another beautiful flower display. Anyway, up yet more steps to Fumeikaku, the pavilion thing I was talking about earlier. I'm not quite sure that pavilion is the right word. It's this. I mean, what do you call it? It's rather impressive, but I can't think of a good word for it. So, for the time being, we'll call it a pavilion. That's what kaku, the kaku in Fumeikaku, actually means. And here's the view out over Takehara from the pavilion. It's not raining yet, but it certainly looks like it might quite soon. Okay, back on the main street. More crested lanterns. I think I'd quite like a crest and a lantern to put it on, for that matter. Anyway, we're coming up to a house that always has a really, really impressive display of bamboo decorations. I'm hoping this year will be no different. You normally have to pay to go in, but trust me, it's worth it. This is the house in question. And yes, it's very much well worth it. This costs 300 yen, but I could stay here all evening, really. Just looking at the display, looking at the candles flickering. It's so beautiful. Anyway, let's take a walk around the garden for a while. There's a good view of Fumeikaku from the garden as well. By the way, I'm not quite sure. No, I'm not sure at all why Fumeikaku is illuminated in that sort of pinky purple. But I can't say I dislike it. Anyway, there's still more to see in the garden, so let's continue our little look around. I think one of the beauties of this garden is the fact that it is quite a small space, but there is just so much packed into it. It's quite incredible, really. Alright, it's time to leave. I could stay here for much longer, but I've certainly had my 300 yen's worth, I think. And to be honest, I need to move on because I need to catch a bus. More lanterns and more family crests. I'm getting quite jealous, really. This is the Taketsuru Sake Brewery. It's well known because Taketsuru Masataka, one of the Taketsuru family, went on to found Nikka whiskey. He's known in Japan as the father of Japanese whiskey. We're getting close to the end of the main street now, which in a way is good because it's just starting to spot with rain. So there's just this one final display of decorated bamboo to enjoy before I head slowly back to the railway station to catch my bus. The Shokei-no-Michi festival in Takehara, rather unfortunately, only takes place over 2 days in a year. It's normally the end of October or the beginning of November. If you happen to be in the Hiroshima area at the right time of year, then I would very definitely recommend making the journey out to Takehara to see this festival. It really is quite beautiful. Shokei-no-Michi, the name of the festival, is difficult to translate, but it means something like a path of longing. I think it refers to the feelings brought back by the old-fashioned scenery. It's an excellent name, in other words. Anyway, that's about it for this video, I think. Thank you very much for watching, and I do hope you enjoyed it. I hope to see you again in another video very soon, but for now, goodbye.